going on, guys? The Fat Man Creek is back again. Here to do my UFC prediction video for UFC on FX Belfort versus Bisping. This is the first proper MMA card of the year, UFC wise. It's going down in Brazil this weekend, the 19th. And we've got some pretty decent fights, but it's FX, so FX normally gets shit cards, but there's a couple of decent fights on here. Let's start with the preliminary card. The first bout is Francisco Trilindo versus CJ Keith. I'm going for Trilindo. I think this is one of those guys that was on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil. Yes he was. I didn't watch that season, but whatever. Next fight, Wagner Prado versus Ilmada Alcantara. Alcantara is a late replacement for, if I can find who the fuck it was, Roger Howlett, that's it. I'm picking Wagner Prado. Next fight is a bantamweight bout between Yuri Alcantara versus Pedro Nobri. I'm going for Yuri Alcantara. There's a lot of guys that are making their debuts on here that don't have, even Wikipedia pages, but whatever. We have next bout is I'm surprised this isn't on the main card considering it's Edson Barboza, but Edson Barboza versus Lucas Martinez. I'm going for Edson Barboza. Next fight is a featherweight bout between Diego Nunes versus Nick Lentz, and I believe, is this Nick Lentz's first fight? No, this isn't his first fight. This is his second fight at featherweight. He beat Mitsuoka UFC 150. I don't know why, but for some reason I thought that was his featherweight debut, but anyway, it's not. It's a tough one here. I'm probably going to go with Diego Nunes, purely because he's beaten the better opposition in Mike Brown, Manny Gamburin, Bart Palshevsky, Rafael Sunsao, these guys. But if you look at Nick Lentz, yes, done some work at 155, but he was a real boring fighter, and the biggest win probably on his career, I'd have to say, is probably the Tyson Griffin split decision, but that was when Tyson Griffin was going down, lost to Mark Bojic, lost to Evan Dunham. So anyway, let's get that away with. Next fight is God, some of these names are so hard to pronounce. It's a featherweight bout between Godofredo Castro versus Milton Vieira. I believe Castro is another one of these UFC Brazil dudes. Yes, he is. He hasn't fought for a little bit, but it's okay. Milton Vieira, another one of these guys on that. Most of these guys haven't fought since they were on the UFC 147 card. Don't know why, but whatever. My gut is probably telling me that Milton Vieira might win this. I'm just looking at both these dudes, and this one I'm purely going their records because I've only seen them fight once. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, go on, I'll go Milton Vieira. Doesn't sound very good, but I'm being honest, I don't really know some of these guys that are on the Ultimate Fighter Brazil because I never watched it. Next fight is a very interesting fight for me. We have a lightweight bout between Thiago Tavares, not Tiago, versus Khabib Nurmagomedov, or I need to watch the Errol Hawani video because he pronounced it fantastic. Nurmagomedov. I'm not 100% what it is, but it's something like that. Now, Thiago Tavares, if we look, he's not doing too bad. He's 4-1-1 with a loss to Shane Roller in there, but he's been some pretty decent opposition in there. Manny Gamburin, Spencer Fisher, Sam Stout last time out. But this dude, Khabib, I believe is probably going to be the next best thing in this division. He's 18-0. He was 16-0 before coming into the UFC. He's only been fighting since 2008. He's beaten Kamal Shalorus and Gleason Tibau in the UFC. I'm picking Khabib. There you go. Next fight is a heavyweight bout between Gabriel Gonzaga and Big Ben Rothwell. It's a difficult one because if Gonzaga gets to the ground, I think Gonzaga will probably submit Ben Rothwell, but Ben Rothwell has got a pretty decent chin. and I would have to say if Ben Rothwell can get his hands on him, on Gonzaga, which he probably will, I think he's going to knock Gonzaga out. So I'm going to go with Big Ben Rothwell. Next fight is Daniel Sarafian, who I believe was another of the Ultimate Fight Brazil people. I'm going to go, and he's fighting CB Dollaway. I'm going to go with Sarafian because I don't really like CB Dollaway. I just don't think he's a fantastic fighter. I mean, yeah, he's coming off probably the biggest win of his career over Jason Miller, but you know, I don't know, something about him. He just doesn't strike me as a fantastic fighter. But that's just me. And that's the co-main event. That's why this card is pretty shit. Because when you got CB Dollaway in a co-main event, wow. I mean, in my opinion, I think the Gonzaga fight Ben Rothwell is bigger than the Safadine CB Dollaway fight. Even the Edson Barboza against this no-name Brazilian is bigger than that. But I digress. We are on to what everyone really wants to see. Is the main event of the evening. We have Vitor Belfort versus Michael Bisping in a middleweight bout. Now, obviously, Vitor Belfort, we all know last time out, lost to John Jones for the light heavyweight bout. No shame in that. Before that, though, was coming off two very good wins over Anthony Rumble Johnson and Akiyama. Obviously, before that, he lost to Anderson Silva, but beat Rich Franklin, Matt Linlin, Terry Martin, da-da-dee-da-da-da-da-do. Anyway, if we look at his UFC career as of late, not in total, but he's only lost to really the two pound-for-pound greats out there, Anderson Silva and John Jones. Other than that, he's beaten. And what I've got to stress is, whenever he fights, he mainly finishes people. He's only won 4 of his 21 fights by decision, and a lot of them were back in the day, like in his early Pride days, like over Gilbert Ivell, and Heath Herring, and one was a while ago in England in Cage Rage. But I'm going to talk about Michael Bisping. I'm going to give him a bit of props. I mean, I watched the Chael Sonnen fight a couple of times, and I don't think he won it, but it was very close. I did give it to Chael Sonnen, but it was very close. And if we're going to be honest, he isn't a bum. A lot of people say he's a bum, but he's not. I'm just going to put this on hold for a moment here, people. And basically, I'm personally gonna give this fight to Vitor Belfort because I think he's gonna knock him out, because he is always susceptible to getting knocked out. But it wouldn't surprise me too much if Bisping won. This is probably the biggest fight now of Bisping's career, because I believe if he doesn't beat Vitor Belfort here, Dana White's come out and said if he beats Vitor Belfort here, he'll get a title shot. And I believe this is probably his last chance. I mean, I can't see him being, he's been in the middleweight division now for 5 years, and he has beaten a lot of decent guys: Chris Lieben, Dan Miller, Dennis Kang, Akiyama, Mayhem Miller, Brian Stan. The list goes on. But whenever he loses, it's significant. I.e. Dan Henderson. He lost, he wasn't going to get a title shot. Then it was a bit of a shock when he lost to Vanderlei Silva. Lost to that. Then the Chael Sonnen loss. I think everyone thought he was going to lose. And now the Vitor Belfort. He's been given that shot very quickly, only after beating Brian Stan. But I think Vitor Belfort's going to knock him out. I can't see Vitor Belfort getting another title shot after losing to John Jones last time out. I think he's going to have to beat a couple more people to get a shot at Anderson. But it's pretty cut and dry for me. I see Vitor Belfort knocking him out pretty quickly, really, probably within the first or second round. I'm just going to quickly go on to it quickly now because I want to see. Yeah, we got Dodson versus. This is the end of my video anyway. Prediction video for that. That's it. Done. It's a pretty shoddy one, to be quite honest with you. But anyway, next week, a week from when this fight takes place, we've got Dodson UFC on Fox. John Dodson versus. Well, I thought I was going to sneeze, but I didn't. Versus Demetrius Johnson. We got Quentin Jackson versus Teixeira, Don Cerrone, Pettis, Kosh, Lamas. There's some very, very good fights coming up very quickly. Then a week after that, we've got Edgar versus Aldo, which is another super fight card. You've got Ian McCall, Benavides, Damian Maia, John Fitch, Alistair Overeem versus Antonio Silva, Rashad Evans, Little Nog. And then we've got the week after that, or 10 days after that, we've got the one in England, which is Henry Morale, Michael McDonald. And then a week after that, we've got UFC 57, Ronda Rousey. And then a week after that, we've got UFC on Fuel, Brian Stan versus, this is the Japan one, Stan versus Silva. I'm just saying, the reason why I'm reading these off, because I just can't believe that within the next, say, 2 months, we've got like 5 or 6 UFC cards, pretty good cards coming out. I mean, this one in Japan is going to be great. We've got, and just a quick off-the-topic thing. Give me your thoughts on why do you think they've made this Vanderlei Silva Brian Stan fight at light heavyweight? I don't get it. They're both in the middleweight division. They both have been in the middleweight division for a few years now, even though they've previously fought at light heavyweight before. But I don't understand why they're getting 2 middleweights and bring them up to light heavyweight for this main event. Why not just make it a middleweight bout? You know, it's stupid to me. But then we've got Mark Hunt, Struve, Gomi, Sanchez, Hector Lombard versus Yoshino Akami. Brilliant fights over that. And then, yeah, fucking hell. Then 10 days after that, you've got UFC 58, we've got Diaz GSP, Condon, Rory McDonald, Johnny Hendricks, Jay Kellenberger. This, literally, the next 3 months for MMA, 2.5 months, is huge. We got some huge fights coming up. Absolutely mammoth. Anyway, that's my prediction done. It's the first one of 2013. There shall be more to come. But until then, guys, as always, enjoy the fights.